Okay, welcome everybody to the Forbidden History Chronicles. Apologies for skipping a night, but we're back. I'll just get straight into it. Hi guys, love you, glad you're here. Lynn says, I put standby because of the music. Oh, wait a minute. I'm a bit out of practice and I forgot to hit the mute button. I put standby because of the music and Lynn said standing. That's what I was giggling at. Okay, we'll read the introduction. I'm here with Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series. We are broadcasting from this channel as much as we can until Desert gets a computer organised. When he does, he will be doing regular programs again, and we'll be cutting back on my channel, but the Forbidden History Chronicles will still be going. Anyway, the signs of the times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from from the very beginning of time, who they are, and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. Desert can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. He discusses the ultimate in mind control and ancient art, and the financial control, secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective, constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end, they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing, and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it. But they are cleverly leaving us in the dark, hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weakness and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water to tainted vaccines to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Dezert-Owl. Hello and welcome, Desert. How's it going?
Hey, good day, Ninja. It's, the world is still spinning. In contrast to what those flat earthers say, I don't know what to say about them, you know. You would think that somebody over the hundreds of years who circumnavigated the Antarctic would have come out and said, hey, you know what, I tried to sail around the Antarctic and I couldn't do it. You know, but of course nobody did over all these years. And of course we have maps, actually the most ancient maps show Antarctica on them. And I don't think those navigators were in a conspiracy against mankind, you know. Well, if they were, they would have made the Antarctic go all the way around the planisphere map. A map is a flat map is a planisphere. And, you know, so you can look at things in, you know, from a lot of different perspectives, and you realize it's full of holes and it doesn't hold water, you know, but the Earth is a bottomless pit, and that means it's all surface, there's no bottom. You're not on the bottom because there is no bottom, even though we say it's down under. We're down under from your perspective, I imagine, right?
No, you're up above. You're all the way up there, up north. Yeah, from my perspective.
Well,
I'm looking
okay,
up,
up
from
north,
down under.
Right, because they always give us pictures. They always give us the pictures of the planet with you at the southern hemisphere, so
Yes.
that makes it look like you're upside down. But the truth is, there is no bottom. You can vouch for me, right? You're not.
Yeah, okay,
like
I'm
you're
vouching.
gonna lift off the
I'm
ground.
vouching. Yeah. That's just the way I grew up. It
Gravity's
just.
working.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Gravity is working fine and dandy where you're at too, right?
Fine and dandy. It's the same everywhere. It's just how we were brought up, how we were programmed.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. We're gonna do some deprogramming, I guess.
Okay. Good.
Right. So, I was listening to the next part of that writing that you read, and we're going through every topic there. And I think the last thing was he's adept in the cyber code, and that part with the letters or the alphabet. How did that read again?
There's cyber code has been revealed to me because I have become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism. Do you want me to keep going?
All right, there it is.
Ancient
That's
alphabets.
The alphabet. What comes right after the alphabet, just so I know where it leads into?
Communications, then symbolism.
Communications and symbolism. Okay.
Then religion.
So it's a big piece of the puzzle because
Yeah.
you know it starts with the communication,
Yeah.
and that it of course on the primitive level they just would have spoke with words, but then on a deeper level they would have communicated with symbols, which we call letters today, but they were called symbols in the 1800s, and they switched out the word because they didn't want us to get the picture that they were graphic symbols that have a message by themselves. So
Yeah.
they change it from symbol to letter. And so what's the letter? It's the big page of all, everything you write on a page you call a letter, or maybe it's a page.
Oh,
Whatever. If it's
wow.
not letter, maybe it's a page, but the letter, is it the big thing or the little thing? You see, that's the confusion
Yeah.
that they instigate, because the truth is the little guy, that one graphic is a symbol and not a letter from that standpoint, unless we look at it esoterically again, because the T's, as we know the part of the code, we could change the T's to a D, because the D's and the T's, as they sound the same, are twins, but one's the good twin and one's the bad twin, because the D is the symbol of death and destruction and disaster and danger and disease and death and dearth and destruction. All of the D words, and then dead is D-E-A-D, two D's. It's a double D. So it's like twice dead, and in fact, it is twice dead. Maybe that's why you got two D's on there, because everybody is spiritually dead in the world, and then you're dead physically, and that's the second death according to the scriptures. So we have to know the meaning. So letter then, if we change the code, could be ladder, Ladder, instead of Letter, and letter becomes a ladder that can allow us to reach up to the Great Spirit, a ladder back home, just like apparently Jacob.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that.
Or James, but
Yeah.
Maybe we should call him James. Since it's so posh to call him James now today in your scriptures. James, the son of Isaac, James. No, I don't think we ever called him James, do we? But they do in the modern.
Why do they do that?
Works.
Why?
Well, it creates confusion. It distracts your mind from following the trail back home.
Because they made a movie on Jacob's ladder.
It's Yaakov, or is the seed of life. That one word has 4 different flavors.
Wow.
James, Jacob, Yaakov, Yaakove, or seed of light. You see, and so one of the greatest tricks they did was with the names. Because they mean something.
Yeah.
Gabriel is the giver of light, and that's Yeshua actually. And Michael, the archangel, the primary royal messenger, Malik, the Arch Malik, actually not archangel, but Arch Malik. That's Yeshua also, who is in charge of everything. Who was given all power? Who's at the arch? Who's at the top? The Arch Malik is Yeshua. You see, but nobody ever, they think this guy Michael is somebody else. They think Gabriel is somebody else. Raphael is somebody else. Go read, Isaiah. He says, there is none beside me. None. No, not one. And so people, he did it like 3 or 4 chapters straight, over and over. There's no one beside me. Nobody. Zip, zilch, I am it. I'm here, ruling the cosmos on behalf of Yahweh. And so we've got to throw questions at things. If we throw questions at things, then we can come to terms. Just like people think that the devil, Satan, demon, Lucifer, Beelzebul, all of these terms are like all the same guy somehow. And he just he changes his name from Satan to devil, and devil to demon, and and they don't know what these words mean. You have to know what something is by defining the diction. Actually the correct word, there's the D again. So we know there's something dearth going on there, and it's really lection. Okay. Election, more correctly. The election is the light that is shining through the code. So the most important thing we do, what's the most important thing we do politically, right? We have an election, because we make a choice about things, about our future, and so we are to elect in everything we do. So the A is the first letter of the alphabet, and everything follows. Everything is a recreation of the A in another form, in another symbol. So and if you want to jump in, you can certainly do that. But I've got some cards I can go through real quick to a primer. I got a primer here. I went and grabbed, realizing what we're going to do. So letters are symbols, and they are figures of speech. That's a cliche. Figures of speech is like when someone says, I'm stiff as a board. That's a figure of speech. It's called an idiom. Of course, I'm not a board, but yet, I might say I'm stiff as a board, or we have all these crazy figures of speech that you go to somebody else's country and they'll say, what did he say? It doesn't translate.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's a funny enigma we have with idioms. That's why they sometimes might think you're an idiot when you say it. It's called an idiom. An idiom, om. The idiom sound. The sound is the om, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So, continuing. So the graphic symbol is what we are dealing with. material world is absolute, pure form. By the virtue of the sign or symbol, it remains of substance in action. Everything is substance and action by virtue of these forms. The symbol, as crystallized in creative art, involves a high degree of condensation deriving from its inherent economy, new form, and elusive power. This then is the psychological basis of the symbolism of graphics, the basis of the magical interpretation is to be sought in the literal interpretation of the theory of the correspondences. Okay, and so that's a good expression of that element. And so the letters are being codes. Let's talk a little bit of history. I got some codes in front of me that I can talk about, but before I do, a little history might be good, because the alphabet that we have today is that in America, we have the driver's license, and on it is an alphabet called the Phoenician alphabet. It's all capital letters, and it's been commercialized. This alphabet has been with us for thousands of years, and it's been stolen from the common Aramaic-speaking people, and it is the what's called the commercial code of today in legal the legal system. If you have something in all capital letters, a letter like comes to you in all capital letters, they call that war diction, or what we call a name, your name, in all capital letters. Like if you get a legal notice, then your name will be in all capital letters. It's really not you. It's called an item sonan. It means it sounds like you. Sonar, sound. It sounds like you, but it's not you. And but you agree to be it. You agree to the fiction because you're not smart enough to say, wait a minute, this isn't me. Somebody's playing a trick here. And so it's also known as a nom de guerre. Nom de guerre means a name of war, a war name, because somebody's at war with you, and they're using war diction, but you don't get it. It's also called a vessel. A vessel, like on a ship, the name of the ship always is in capital letters. Those Phoenician, that's the Phoenician alphabet on the high seas, been on the high seas with the Phoenicians, since with the Phoenicians, that's the code, because it was the true Sanskrit, because it's the only kind of letters you could write on the sand of a beach and have a conversation with somebody, because all other alphabets, are too bizarre to make these graphic straight lines. That's what's unique about the Aramaic. They're made with straight lines, and we were told to go down a straight line, of truth. So the straight line is relevant in this simplicity. It's a simple graphic structure that these symbols represent, and compare it with the small letters, because we got a dual system, right? No nation in history ever had a dual alphabet. We have two alphabets. We have the big capital letters, they're called Phoenician alphabet, and then we have small letters. And so the big ones that look tougher and bigger, they straight lines, like building a house. It's all like being built with 2x4s or sticks. And then look at the other letters. The small letters are small, and they're soft, and they're round, and they're curvy like flowers. You see two different ideas. And the small letters became sovereign in early England. The capital letters weren't even used. They snuck them in very cleverly, because they only used to put the capital letter at the beginning of a paragraph, and then they moved it in a little more and put it in front of the people's proper name.
Yeah.
And so little by little they encroached with the dual system, with the alphabet, and like being like a little pregnant. If you're got a little bit of capital letters in your name, maybe it's killed you with the first capital letter that encroached upon it, and you didn't know it. Because it means you're divided. It means something is going on from a legal standpoint, or word art, or trick. And we need to figure these things out. We accept everything that's handed to us, but that's what makes us good slaves.
Yeah.
We don't question anything. We say, well, this is the way it is, you know.
I have a question.
Or let's have yeah, go ahead.
Oh, not a question. Just something that you reminded me of when you're talking about the straight lines. I'll say the proper word because I have to start speaking the ones I know out loud. It feels weird. That's all. When I don't know if I'm saying it right either. That's why it feels weird. When Yal Ganoon was making the path straight for Yeshua, straightening the path for Yeshua to arrive in the original gospel. Yeah, you just made me think of that. It makes sense.
Straightening the path now would be an idiom, because what he was really doing, in another sense, was clearing the path. He was clearing it. In other words,
I just remember the word straight. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
When a king came into town,
some
of the people would run in front of the parade.
Yeah.
We're talking ancient time because, see, the roads have to be cleaned every now and then because stones get kicked up.
Yeah.
And we're talking about dirt roads. You know, this is a classic example. And so some of it would probably typically be young boys, but it could be other men who did it specially for the event. They were always the ones who could run out. And so they would run in front of the procession, and they would quickly throw all the stones off the road so when the king or the royal people came down, then they wouldn't trip and they wouldn't be kicking stones or their assemblage, the people that were with them. So Yaldanon is clearing the path for the royalty that is about to come, you know, to town, and it's all metaphor and symbolism, of course, but it's also then an idiom, you know, to clear the path but straighten the path. So both are correct, you know, and both are important to create the expression because we're clearing the way.
Yeah.
By the truth, we clear the way with the truth, make it clear so people can get the pictures. Okay, so that's good. And continuing on, because I got to get to the ancient, but I'm trying to make sure I cover the bases on this modern. Anyway, they do a good job of. I had learned that they just stopped teaching cursive writing to the little ones in schools here in America. I guess they stopped teaching them how to write for several years, and now they just elected to do it again in one of the states. They said, "Okay, enough of this."
Wow.
But everything's engineered, you know, by the secret societies, and therefore nothing by accident. But if you don't learn how to write at the prime age, you know, first grade, second grade, where they always have those pictures on above the blackboard, and you know, and my writing wasn't very good, but we practiced. You know, I can't imagine how bad the writing would be then if they didn't learn to write in first and second grade, and therefore
exactly.
That's how they, you know, make us look more stupid, you know, by denying us access to proper, tutoring. It's not. We don't want education anyway. AD means to remove what they remove from your curriculum.
It just makes me think with all the.
And of course, cursive.
Sorry.
Cursive is cursed. It's like a sieve because it is filled with holes. Because never in history did we have letters joined to each other in a string. You know, so that's why it's called the curse and the sieve, because it's more like if we think of the simple idea of evil, you know, so never did we have what we call a signature like this or an autograph. You know, we had a seal, we had a mark, but then they wanted to give us a legal catch-all, which is really the reason. One of the reasons, you know, they may have introduced the cursive. It was also for a faster way of writing. You know, there's different things going on. but a faster way of writing. Connecting the letters. You can roll with them, right? When you're writing, you can join all the letters together in a roll.
Yeah,
and,
I was never good at that.
It's an art. Yeah, it's an art.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so if we go back to the beginning, there's some real enigmas because it's. Well, let's go halfway back. Let's go to the Chimera. And the Chimera we find or Chimera, as it's also pronounced, is found in Revelations. I believe it's in chapter 13, starts in verse 4. It talks about the beast, and the beast has the head of a lion and the body of a leopard, and on top is a head of a goat with a wound on its neck.
Yeah.
And the tail of the Chimera is the serpent that's biting on the horn of the goat to bring power, to bring life back into the goat. And then it says it has the feet of a bear, but that's the cover because it's really the feet of a dog. And you look at it, it's clearly the feet of a dog. It's on the radio network website. If anybody went to therealpublicradio.net, the real, T-H-E, the real, publicradio.net, and they click on, where would they go for that? I think if they go to Museum tab, that's about the second line towards the left, then from there, one of those tabs are going to show them the Chimera. You'll see it, you can't miss it. It's an Etruscan, a bronze statue that was found in a Etruscan tomb in Italy, and so, but that's the classic Chimera. It's a chimera. The chi, the keys. Okay, so let's interpret the words. The chi is chi and also key, and the key is the primary. It's not chi. It's not chimera. It's chimera, and K is the word for keys. And so the K mirror, we can clearly hear the word mirror, meaning reflection. So these are the keys of reflection. And so the head of the lion represents the sun. The serpent, is the power, has the power of life in it. And the body is the serpent. And it's giving life to the goat. And the goat is, when you start reading these anagrams, goat back in the anagram is toga. So the goats are the politicians, but they're wearing the toga. That's what it's telling you in the message. And so this is the keys are a reflection of the sun, of light, because the head is the lion, and that represents the sun. And so these keys are what tells us the story in our diction. Just like the goat is is the word toga when you rearrange the letters. The word serpent, biting the tail of the goat, the horn of the goat to give it power, life again. A serpent, rearrange the letters, you get person. Okay, and so that's the evidence that you hear me keep saying that you wear shirt and pants. You can hear serpent, and then now the word person is in the word serpent. The T is really silent. It's not serpent. It's serpent for serpentine, for going around in circles and wiggling, and so being that this is a K mirror, a mirror of keys, then the keys are in the prime elements and within the symbols. The words that we're receiving are giving us a graphic expression of something to be interpreted. And then when you read chimera backwards, chimera, then you find the word Aramaic.
Oh,
Aramaic.
Wow.
So they're telling us that they're using their baby. They're using their code.
Wow.
And that these are then the Aryan decor, because it was the Aryans who received the Aramaic alphabet through the what was breathed into Hadam at the beginning, 8 or 9 or 10,000 years ago, however far back this illusion, the grand illusion goes. But a minimum 8,000 years, probably no more than 10,000 years, but within that range, the Aramaic was breathed into the Dam, and that is what's known as the Indo-Germanic Aramaic mother tongue. That we don't have any of the most primitive time period, any written record other than what we find on the walls of caves and other structures. But going back to that chimera for a moment, so they're telling in the code, in the reflection, in the mirror. What's a mirror? It's a reverse image, right? So chimera in reverse is Aramaic.
Yeah.
And but that's a broken terminology because it's really the archai Malik or the archai Malik, and Malik. There's the word that we use for king, not angel. They robbed us of Malik and gave us the word angel. But Malik means royal messenger, and it also is used for the word king because the king didn't claim to be at the top. He claimed to be the voice, the royal messenger of the divine, of Yahweh, and or whatever God terminology they used. And so where am I going? So Malik. Then we hear the word ma for mother, lek for lecture, malek, or we could say malik, lik for tongue, depending upon what vowel we use, or lak, and we hear the word sounds like Moloch, because they were using the same words. You see, Moloch was a messenger also, but there's the word lock. Malak means you got the lock on something. In other words, it's like the word. It would be like the word code. Lock would mean code because something's under lock and key, and so it's expressive of the fact that this is a code in that terminology. And so malak, you're filling up what is lacking. These are the words. But then Malik, probably has more derivatives. If I were looking at it on paper, then I see things immediately in the graphics. But I'm just doing this off the top of my head. So archai Malik is the more correct root form because they've abbreviated all the words, and so it's archai Malik. And so you hear the word archives, archaic, archivic, archai Malik, and so it's the archives of the royal tongue in the prime sense, and so it's an archive, and so it's an archive literally into the mind of the divine, of the one who made all things, because it is his code. He made it. It was in a different form. If you go to the dictionary again, the latter one that's within the document called the Original Gospel. It's a prototype of what the project we're working on, and in there, if you go down, I don't know. I think it's if you go under A and Adam, you'll see the word Adam in a primitive Aramaic form. It's just the consonants, not the vowels. 3 letters. ADM. Oh, that's Archer Daniel Midlands. We don't make anything. We make everything better. Oh yeah, sure you do. So ADM, of course, they're playing on the word atom because they say we don't make anything. We make everything better. Atom. ADM. And so I've been looking at that for decades, always on that Sunday morning commercial that was on Sunday morning with Charles Carroll. That was always a great program on Sunday mornings when I was married way back when. But I didn't know they always had the picture of the sun in the background, right? And the right eye was put out, and most people didn't pay attention to that. But I got the picture. The occult had closed one eye on the sun, meaning that it was really a Luciferian operation. There was something gone, huh? And but anyway, getting back to the story here. So we got to take it back to the beginning, but we're working our way back. And I'm stopping off at a few places because there are some enigmas, and therefore I'm working back by a few enigmas that occurred. And another one is right after the Great Flood. Right after the Great Flood, all of the alphabets in that part of the world at that time, what we call Northern Africa, or the Middle East, or the West, going all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, the northwest, because it was divided. The Great Flood divided the giant continent, and the sea in the middle of the land that's called the Mediterranean, the sea that flooded in from the Atlantic Ocean when Africa and Europe split apart. After that great flood, and all the remnant civilizations were still alive, but most of the giant civilization in the valley of the Mediterranean were drowned because of the great flood, 4,000 miles from the Strait of Gibraltar all the way to, or also known as the Bars of Hercules, all the way to the Levant of Palestine. The biggest flood ever in the history of mankind, still there on the map. You can see it today, called the sea in the middle of the land, the Mediterranean Sea. And so nobody talks about it. I can't get over it,
I saw it on the map, and I didn't talk about it either, because,
yeah. Well, it'll be a program one day we can do.
Cool.
So what happened after the Great Flood, in one of the books I was reading, it said that a very unique phenomena happened in the Mediterranean world, whereas the primitive Aramaic, than what we see in the example of the priesthood's code called Hebrew, or in other script, everyone wrote from right to left. It was universal in that part of the world, and in the dictionary it's the same thing, right? That I was telling you about the word Adam with the primitive Aramaic, and so
I'm just putting that in the chat too. Sorry,
all of a sudden, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just putting it in the chat. I just found it. I was looking. I'm looking at it right now. The ADM on page 27.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Okay.
So if you so after the Great Flood, a unique phenomena occurred, and all at the same time, all the variable cultures that had a different form of the evolved Aramaic, basically, because most all of them were speaking an evolved form of Aramaic. All of the cultures after the Great Flood switched from writing from right to left, and they started writing from left to right. And I just read, that I didn't discover it. I read it in a book. It was telling the story. I read this book 35 years ago. I don't even remember, what book I was in to have read it. And it was like, whoa, okay, that's not normal. Something only happens like that if there's a one world order running the show. You know what I mean? It's the only way.
Wow.
Something that quickly, that dramatically, that complete would occur. It's an agenda.
Yeah.
And because there is an unseen hand running the world, and so switch out to Kurt. So if you look at that ADM in that primitive Aramaic, you'll notice that I flip it over, and not only do I flip it over, but then I switch out I reverse it from right to left to right, right?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see that the way they present it to us in the ancient, it looks like very strange letters. But when you flip them over and then reverse them, they look like the modern letter, don't they? You can see the D and the A and the M.
Yep. Desert.
I never got it when it was upside down.
Oh no. I'm looking at it right now.
The reverse image and the chimera, that's the chimera, the reversal, you see.
Wow. Mirror image, duality, all that. Yeah.
They're good.
See and read it for yourself. The big picture, all of it. Desert.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what it means is that the primitive knew what their baby was all about.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't give their code to the common people.
Yeah.
And so the priesthood arranged it so that the letters would be upside down and backwards, so that they would never really get the picture that the A is not a bull, but really a pyramid, and that the D, in other words, see, it's called confusion, and you never get the picture because you thought it was just some gobbledygook. When you rearrange it, it's clear as day, that it creates a picture. You know? So it's the trick has been going on from the beginning.
From the beginning.
And it was from those fallen Aryan watchers, the Vekaresh, the vicars, now known as vicars today in the Vatican, but the word is we now get in the corrupt form is the watcher, that they changed the V to a W, VW, right around your beetle, that sacred beetle, the Egyptian beetle, that scarab that floats on water. You know, so yeah, it's quite a deal. But so what they've done, the occultists have done is they've taken those very crude, primitive letters that were freestyle. They didn't use modern type, of course. So it was just written by scratching on slate or using chalk or they created some writing instrument, or ink, with ink and a stylus. They then perfected these letters in modern time through the Kabbalistic Freemasonry and Jewish Kabbalism, and we see these perfectly formed alphabets, letters in what we call the Phoenician alphabet on the modern day driver's license, because in U.S., I know it's not, I guess in the European, but the all capital letters is on our driver's license here in the U.S. because it is now they turned what was free flowing for all the common people. Aramaic was spoken all the way to India, all the way to Africa, northern Africa at least, and Ethiopia, and then all the way into China. Cana, there's Cana again. Then it was removed from the most ancient writings, and they switched out the Syrian and Western Aramaic script and gave them this bastardized version called El Strangulo, which is a demotic script, just like the Arabic or just like what they call Sanskrit, which is really pseudo-Sanskrit, because the alphabet I am talking about on our driver's license, modern-day Phoenician alphabet, is the Sanskrit, the true Sanskrit. In fact, that it's called the Phoenician alphabet is evidence that it is the true Sanskrit, because Phoenicians, what did they do every day? They landed on beaches, and whatever beach they land on when they were trying to talk to the primitive people, they would write in the sand with straight lines, hoping they would get the picture, and so if we talk about those graphics, the A obviously is number 1. That's the first letter of Adam, first letter of the word atom, the A-T-O-M. And the A is the symbol of infinity. It's the architect's compass. It creates the circle underneath. And it starts at a point and projects out, so it's a symbol of infinity. Just like the circle is also a symbol of infinity, because a circle has no beginning, no end. And it just keeps going around. And so the prime symbols in the alphabet are the O and the A. And then, with the M for the mother, we see the V hiding in there. And it's supported by 2 columns. The mother is supported by 2 columns, and that's what in the letter M, which is in the middle of the alphabet, dead middle, showing that it's at the middle of everything, and that's why the V is in the middle of the 2 columns, being supported by the 2 columns, because it's the Virgin, it's creation, it's the mother, the Virgin Mother, but they turned her into a whore, the occultic, because they demanded blood. She demanded blood, but it was they who wanted the blood. Because she is still virgin at the core. Only the men created the whoredom. The men created the system demanding blood, and it's no women with the dress and boobs flying through the night. It's an idea that men created. The fallen watchers. Their woman is an idol. It is an ideal, and it's no living entity, with wings on her back, flying around, doing damage. The only creature that flies through the night doing damage, known as Lucifer, is men who wear dresses, the priesthood, and so they control the code. They have a dress code that shows they're in the game, and which is the men wearing dresses, and that's why Islam also is in the game. You can tell because they're all wearing dresses as well. Who want to run around in a sheet? Give me a break. But anyway, so code. Where was I going with all this, Ninja? Do you know?
You were talking about the A and the O, and then you were talking about dresses.
And and the M. Thank you.
Okay.
And so we see the columns. The two columns are holding up the V in the letter M. It's four components. You got two sticks on the V, and you got two sticks holding up the V in the middle, and that's your letter, capital letter M, the Phoenician code. And so that's the mother, and they pretend it's the mother's a virgin. They played a game, but we know that she's a whore because they of the high treason they commit around the world. And but there's your columns, the Masonic columns, holding up the V, and the Joachim and Boaz, symbols of sun and moon. Those are the two columns of support in the prime sense, in the symbolism, sun and moon. And then the letter N is right next to the M, and there's the split of the M in two N's. The next letter, very next letter, right in the middle of the alphabet, the M is split. And they put, of course, they put the M, the mother, in the middle because she's in the middle of everything. Creation is the mother. It is the motor. Okay? And even the word master would still be feminine because of the M, master, and so because we are feminine in the creation aspect, being our physical nature, then, we would be a master, but it's really a feminine word because it's the ma star. Oh, the mother star. That's where the master is in the throne of the sun. Yeshua, the mother star. So he's male and female at the core, because all things come out of him. You see, and so let's see where we want to go with this. So man technically should have two N's at the end. It's not M-A-N, but M-A-N-N. And that's the way it is, as an example, in the German, and Deutsch, and that's how they spell it, with two N's. And nobody tells us why, of course, but that's the more primitive, and that's the more correct. And I was spelling man for a while in some of my writings with two N's just to get the experience of doing it, but then I backed away from it at that time because I didn't. I was experimenting with spelling and these forms of diction all these years, and therefore you've got to work with them like a scientist working with a bunch of chemicals to see what comes out of it. I'm trying to get the feel.
Yeah.
What feels natural? What feels unnatural? And then at the same time, I'm reading more books and studying, and Yeshua is opening up my mind to see things more clearly. But man is M-A-N-N, and so there's you see the expression at the middle is the A, and the A, is the controlling letter for all diction, and we are at the center of creation, and so naturally it would be in the word man, but then the M is split on the other side of the word, and it's the two N's, but then we took out the A, put in two O's, you get moon. And so man, the word man, is synonymous with moon because we start with the prime root, the parent root, and have no vowels, and that's M-N, M-N-N, and so we get the word creation when we realize it's moon, because moon is not the creator light, but it is a creation from the light that came out of the light, and so it typifies creation, the lower creation, the solidification of light form, and so that's why man I was just reading it yesterday in the Anglo-Saxon dictionary and in the other dictionaries I have, and man means criminal and sinner and a liar and all of these bad terms. There were 3 columns just dedicated to the negative aspects of man in the word. Yeah, and it goes back to the Babylonian Talmud. So I guess I don't want to be a man.
Yeah. Sorry. It's
so
just
we don't want to be. I don't want to be a man. We don't want to be men and women. Woman actually means the judgment of man, and because the woman is the judgment upon man, because it's about physical creation, and physical creation is not the place we want to be. We are spirits, but we were put into a three-dimensional motion picture that's going around, and we've got to come to identify with the meaning of all the symbolism of our being here, and that's the way to find the trail back. And so that's what that kind mirror is all about, the reflections, the keys. The keys are in everything speaking, but we have to be able to interpret them because it is a higher attic code, and it's telling us the way to go home. But of course the scripture says where you can't have a vision, where you can't read the symbol, where there is no vision, the people will perish. And so that's why we do this presentation, so that people can start getting the message in the pictures, and then they can see and read it for themselves, which is what the word behold means. Yet I wonder why they never transliterated it correctly, because they didn't want people seeing and reading for themselves. They wanted them to be told what it means, and told what to do, and told where to go, and hopefully go to the grave as soon as possible, slave, because we'll just get a new generation, and every next generation we get is more controlled by us, because we put them in in front of the television, and we control the television, and and so they'll never figure it out. It was Cicero who said, I believe, no, I don't believe anything. I know it was Cicero. He said, "Give me let me control the music, and I'll control the next generation."
Yeah.
See, they knew.
Yeah.
So
I've done a lot of research with the music and the different frequencies used in.
Well, that's also part of it. That's getting deeper.
Yeah.
That's getting even deeper. And then the bass, the deep bass background. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
All of that has an effect on our psyche. So it's the entire arrangement. The entire arrangement, and then use words that you can't comprehend. Just like in Led Zeppelin, they have one of the first several lines in the song of words have two meanings. Right there in Led Zeppelin's song "Stairway to Heaven," words have two meanings. And then when he says another word in the song, he says something like "Aisuro," and of course you can't comprehend what he just said.
Yeah.
When he played backwards, it said "My sweet Satan."
Yeah. We used to think it was funny. Like we used to, it used to be novelty, like finding what songs we could play backwards and hear evil words. And now looking back, it's like, oh wow, that's messing with things that you shouldn't really mess with. Yeah. But it was so it's crazy. It's in everything.
Yeah. So they put us under the spell. And it's interesting when you read. I never looked at the anagram of spell, but I just saw it when I said the word. I immediately, visually in my head, looked at the word spell backwards, and basically it's a prime root of lips. There's lips when you read it backwards, right? So we cast our spells with our lips, and we are spelling.
We do.
And the P is really supposed to have an H, and the S is supposed to have an H in the original form, but we're everything's been corrupted, so that's the way it looks on our modern diction. So if we go, so I gave some examples of the code. I can't obviously get into a big doxology here about the alphabet and go through all the letters, but I gave you prime examples of the most important letters: the A, the O, the M, and the N, which helps to fit and so I'll give one more relative to moon, and it's noon. Because there we see two O's again in the middle of the word, like moon, but it's the M. The M is the division of the M we find in the two N's is clearly seen in the word noon, because it's N-O-O-N. There's only two letters involved in this word, and it's the N and it's the O. And the two O's in the middle, as we talked about the O's the other day, you already know what the two circles represent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
The sun and the moon.
Thank you very much. I didn't want to have to give you that today, so you got it right.
I'm getting there.
And so, and I'm sorry.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Of course you are.
Yeah.
So the two ends representing the division of the woman in creation, therefore represent the division and the opposite polarity. So an end on the right, an end on the left, and as you can see, a capital N looks like a sliding board in the middle. It's like a sliding board going down, and that's why I could immediately read it 35, 40 years ago. You know, I looked at it graphically. I could see what it represented. Now I know that the full word is N-A-Y-L, which is the original Indo-Germanic for the word nail, N-A-I-L, but it's N-A-Y-L, nail. What do we do with the nail? We drive it down. We hammer it down. That's the word, the Nile River, the Nile River, the river that came down from deep in Africa, the longest river in the world, the Nile, the giant Nile River that comes down, bringing fertilization to the Mediterranean civilization, not Egypt. So we see then in what comes down from the sun, because it's the sun that is speaking, because we only regard the sun for high noon. It's the light creation, and what comes out of the sun is the moon, because it's capturing the essence of the sun and moon. Sun is dominant, and the light came first, and then it brought forth the physical creation, and out of it came the two powers, meaning the yin and the yang, the male and female, the light and darkness, the all the polarities of hot and cold, in and out, up and down, back and forth. You know, so it's all in that element. It's speaking a code, and we have to interpret it. So the capital letters are the superior code, even though they made now the small letters dominant in our diction. Like when you write a letter, you only use capital letters in the front of a word,
Yeah.
or to create an emphasis on a word. But the small letters are dominating, but it is the capital letters. Like if you look at the Greek monuments or the Roman monuments, what do you see? You don't see the minuscule letters that came 500 years ago, give or take, but we see the capital letters. When they pulled the capital letter system out of Greece, they wanted to help hopefully forget about those letters written on the monuments, and they gave us a new form of Greek. That's another form of El Strangulo. We can see it in Strong's Concordance with our scriptures, and that's not the original Greek. That's a man-made, phony alphabet, and that, you know, if you look at that Greek, you know, you'd think, man, do I have to learn how to say that? I wouldn't want to learn it. You know, I never wasted my time learning that gobbledygook, you know, because if you look on the monuments, you'll see that they're not the same letters. On the Greek monuments, you've got what we call the Phoenician alphabet. Straight lines. In fact, you look at it and you think you could read it, because they're using our letters today, back then, 3,000 years ago. And so it's the great switch out. And what is so important about this alphabet that they've got to keep manipulating societies throughout all time, you know? And so the other day I gave out some letters that are the cyber code of deception, and the letters that don't really exist in the original, and they are man-made constructs that came later on. And so the letter C, as an example, is supplemented the G, and that's why the C has at least two sounds, sometimes maybe three, but it's, the ka is the correct sound, not the S sound. The C is not an S, but it has a double system, and that's not the way it used to be. Like Italian is relatively easy to learn, because every letter in the Italian has one sound, and that's the way it's supposed to be. One letter, one picture, one sound, with perhaps the exception of a vowel, because the vowel have a hard sound and a soft sound, an O, an or a and an an E and an I, an I and a I again, something like that, or O and U. So you have very typically two sounds with the vowels, and that gives them a lot more variable ways of expressing thoughts and ideas within the words with limited vowels. So you've got twice as many just by the variable. But what they've done is they've thrown in a bunch of man-made constructs, because see, all of the European tongues, which would be the correct way to say it, diction is moving away from the idea a little bit because of the D, because they killed us with the H horse with the words, but lection then is, putting the L back, is more correct for, as we see in lecture, and eclectic, the lek is more correct, but tongue means tone key, tone key. I mean, look at the word tongue, T-O-N-G-U-E, it looks like it was made by a Martian. It's not a normal spelling with a normal ability to sound it, and you can see it's a code, and when you hear the word tone key, you can realize that that word is in that, right? It's two words, tone and key. And where was I going with this? Let me get my head on straight.
I don't know.
Do you know where I was going, Ninja?
No, I'm trying. No, I don't. I can't help you with this one, Desert. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm just having fun anyway, so that's what we got to do here. I was on the C.
Yeah,
and,
yes, you were.
So the T is a man-made, and it was originally a K. Now look at the K. The K with the K sound. Well, doesn't the K, the capital K, look like it could have been an H?
Yes.
And then the right side collapsed and it fell in on the left side, right?
Yeah, or a capital R.
And well, even an R looks like that as well, but
yeah,
that's another.
That's another,
because that's a variable.
Okay.
Okay, so the K, is actually an H in its original form, because these are it's like telling a story. It's talking about the fall of creation. Within the symbols is the expression of the fall of creation, just like the M becomes
yes.
N.
Yes, I get what you're saying now. Yes, thank you.
All right, so
yes.
So in the word ka, we hear the word cut, right? That's where the C sound comes from, or the K sound is the cut. And so if you realize that it's like they chopped the tree, and the right column fell into the left column, then you get the ka. So you can see that the letter K actually looks like what it sounds.
Yes.
It's cutting action.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Okay. And so one column fell in. It's the right column. It was the way back home, because the right, I told you they switched the alphabet out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we used to read, spell and write from right to left.
Yeah.
Then they got us on the left. So if you're on the left, you're already dead,
Wow.
because we came from the right, which is the light. The L and the R are interchangeable. The right hand is the light hand, the power hand. You see, and I'll get into that in a little bit. I'll give an example of that. But the W again is a code that typically supplemented in the primary the V, but also the two O's. Sometimes when you see the W, or it could be two L's in the code. It's quite a trick, like in the word Hebrew. Then well, there is no W in nature, and I read that the other day out of Samuel Johnson's dictionary from the late 1700s. He said there no intellectual alphabet ever had a W in it, and so he read some old books, no doubt, to be able to make that connection.
Yeah.
And but this knowledge gets lost. It was 50-50 whether I would have got Johnson's dictionary, because I knew that I couldn't get every dictionary on the planet, and you get tired at one point, of reading dictionaries. But I said, no, I think I need to get it now, because I'm about to do, the most important transliteration of Scripture in modern time, based on the Indo-Germanic and Aramaic, and so I got it, and then I just to learn that one thing alone, which I already knew, but now to have a second witness.
Yeah, you wanted it confirmed. Yeah.
When you're all alone with this information, and everybody wants to say, okay, Desert, so where'd you get this stuff, man? I think you've been drinking too much dandelion wine, or you got that funny name. You come on, give me a break, all right? So W, and then they even in the code, so that the Khazar Jews wouldn't forget, the brotherhood, so everybody's in on the deal. They, create that Egyptian scarab called the beetle of Volkswagen, and they say the VW. Don't forget the V's a W, W's a V. You know the code, and that's why they're all at the end of the alphabet. It's like the parking lot of all damaged letters. You know, the X, the Y, the Z, V, W, X, Y, Z. You know, it's like UV. Okay, there's your ultraviolet, but U and V are next to each other because the U also hides the V. The U also hides the. You know, they say it's a W. Wait a minute, it's not a W. It's a double V. You know, so they're using the U sound for in the W, and it's a double V, and the U is a supplement for two O's. You can hear the sound of the two O's. Ooh, U, ooh. And so in the primary, it's hiding the two O's, but it's also hiding the V. It's doing business. All these letters are doing business for each other.
Yeah,
you know,
they're busy.
I'll cover it for you today, and you know, so the J is a latecomer. The J didn't come around up until about 250 years ago, give or take. I got the book that'll give me the answer if I need it, but I'm just doing this off my head here without no preparation. And so the J, so in the Old English alphabet, we had two I's. Like the A, you know, the A at the beginning of our alphabet is really a consonant. There's a vowel that was strictly pronounced. There was no written vowel. It was the sound. As they read, they imported the sound. And with the vowels, that's how they did it. They knew what the sounds were. That was, I guess, another part of the secret. You know, they didn't even want to write down the code of the vowels. They passed it on verbally, and then you knew how to spell it out or pronounce it. So that's why Aaron has two A's in his name, because one is a consonant, one is a vowel. It's showing you the duality, the yin and the yang, and that. So it's not. In the beginning, I was going wrong. I thought that's, you know, in the first attempt I ever made at, you know, unraveling this stuff, I thought maybe that's how you pronounce it. And I realized, oh no, one's a vowel, one's a consonant. So it's Aaron, but one is speaking and one is silent. And the one that's silent represents Yahweh, because he's sitting back watching everything. You see,
yeah,
the one
that
that
makes
is speaking
sense.
is false, false tradition. That's the voice that we hear, right?
Yep.
We hear the lies. We hear the controllers.
Yes.
But Yahweh is sitting back thinking, okay, they got their game, I got mine. You know, and when it's time, he reveals the truth.
Yes.
You know, to you when you're ready, if you're ready. You know, if you're ready to go. If you're sick of it, you know, he'll open it up to you, but it's quite a price you have to pay. You have to die to this world in order to live a second time, you know. And so the J is then created. So Jesus used to be Isus, and there we can see clearly the word Isis. I guess maybe that's why they throw that J in there. Yeah. Hey, this is too obvious, guys. Let's fix it a little bit, okay? Yeah, with the J on the hook, the hookers, and so then J has to sound like the G. So we really didn't need a J, did we? Because we already had the G sound. But J now, right? And then we go into F, and F is a corruption of the PH. The PH is the original for the F sound, the phosphorus, the fibers, the formula for creation is PH. And I'm about getting ready for a break here. Just so.
Oh, good.
Then we'll see if I can cover some more ground. I don't want to stop in the middle of all this. This is trying to get a picture here. On the F, then the F is doing business with the V, the P. You know, this is the biggest one that's doing the dance is the V, the F, the P, the PH. Seems like I'm missing one in this mix, but basically the F and the three letters are dancing where more typically it's two, and the V, the F, and the P, all of them are doing different business in different European tongues, tone keys, and then the I, of course, is the blind. You hear me talk about that being the blind. The I, just throw it out of the word, and it'll do more to reveal the original nature of the word, or replace the I with an A. Very typically, that's the first two approaches, and then and there could be other variables, but there's a pattern within the code once you know it, and so realize that we're dealing with two code systems. One system is the natural code that came to us through Yahweh, who they mispronounce as Yahweh, and so there's a natural code that can be unraveled. It was meant to be read, obviously, but they've done such a good job of playing word tricks that it's hard to read, and that's the other code, the cyber code of the Jesuit mafia, the most powerful military in the world, working for the front office of the Vatican, or the unseen hand that's ruling the world from the beginning of recorded history, the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthoods and priesthoods of the world. And so they did it outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators. They abbreviated the words. It was a rather humorous mind blower. You know, for 30 years to be, let's see, it would be about 25 years. I was saying, you know, they're abbreviating the words. Here's a word, here's a word, here's a word, all in one big word. Break it up, and you see the components, and there's how the word is built. And then one day I find out that they engineered all of our diction outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators. That isn't in our face, right?
Yeah.
It's like a joke.
Wow.
You know, they put everything in our face and we don't get it.
Yeah.
And so the College of Abbreviators, run by the Jesuit Curii, they put the cure in your eye, and you got mud in your eye. So the Q is also latecomer. Go look in the alphabet. You know, there's very few words with Q, showing it's sort of like a parking lot for another code.
It always goes
Q
with a
is,
U. You can't have the Q without the U.
Well, yeah, and the CW is like in the old English, we'll find it's a CW, but then they changed out of the Old English in the more modern with the words they want to manipulate with a Q instead of a CW.
Okay.
And so the Q is why? Because it stands for queen. Because it's a matriarch, and they're following the Luciferian queen.
Yeah.
That's what the Queen Mother represents. The Queen Mother.
Okay.
Right? How come her husband's not called the king? How come it's just a matriarchy with no king, and yet she's married to Prince Philip, right?
Yeah.
So it's because symbolism. She represents the Luciferian occult, and so let's look at the word, you know, Q for a minute. When you play pool, you know, you got the rack of 9 balls in it or whatever, and what do you use to knock all the other balls around?
You use a Q.
A cue ball, right?
Yeah.
So the cue ball controls all the other balls.
And you've got your cue stick. That's what I was thinking of.
Well, a cue stick, of course. It's a cue stick that's hitting the cue ball.
Yeah.
And you're in trouble if you hit the other balls without the cue.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be on cue.
Yeah.
Or you'll be barbecued. You know, they'll barbecue you if you don't use the cue right. So then, of course, there's quick. Quick is in the word living. So they put Q, you know, like, in other words, quicksand means living sand, right? They talk about the quick and the dead, the living and the dead. So the Q is put in the word living to show that it's alive and well. Lucifer is alive and well, because we don't use the word Q naturally within our diction. It's a manufactured code, okay?
Yeah.
And
wow.
X is a 90-degree turn of a T. They knocked the T over the tree, representing the Mashiach, the tree of life. They've knocked it over and 90 degrees, and it becomes an X, symbol of death. The T was really supposed to be the symbol of life in the metaphor at the end of the alphabet, the Aleph and the Tau. But it's an X for destruction. 3 X's is poison, right?
There have been X's all over the sky since I've been noticing them for a long time, but I've been noticing them all over the sky since about May or June. They are everywhere in circles. You just made me think of that. Yeah, so...
Sure.
Yeah.
And X-ray means death ray.
Yeah.
See, right? Yeah. And then they got our children watching cartoons called the X-Men, and it means the men, death men. So
my favourite show was the X-Files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the U, I talked about the U, and then the B. The B is, and the second letter of the alphabet was replaced, which was a B, for a B, and that's why you'll see some of the Zionists. They'll change the word Abraham into Abraham.
Yeah.
Because they know it. They know the code, and so they put the V back in the right position in the words. The B is the number 13. You split it apart, and it shows the lunar cycle because they went. So whereas the symbol of light was AVG in the first 3 letters of the alphabet, all products of light, they put the 13 in the second letter as the B, capital B, which is for the moon, because Luciferianism took over the light, covered the light, formed an eclipse, put us in the darkness of the night. Because the moon is up and rules the night, and the sun rules the day. And so that's basically the code. So the letters are C, W, J, F, I, Q, X, U, and B. All false symbols that don't belong in our alphabet, that were put there to confuse us from the original. Because if we had the original, we could see things more clearly. And so when we get back from the break, I will then reveal a little more how we can see what's called the Eshavors, and see more clearly when we get back to original root form. It's all about form. The good news is, once we already have the original symbols, and so since we have the original symbols, we simply have to identify which ones are the original, and which ones are not, and then what these symbols mean, and what their order is within the lineup. What's at the beginning, what's at the end, what's in the middle, and then simply look at then the combination of forms, parent root forms, and then at that point we can get back to that original. You see, it's no mystery. Even in the Indo-Germanic books, they said that it's amazing that the original forms are still with us today, and we can follow the trail back. Now they're doing it in their dictionaries, and yet they're not all correct, because they don't know. They're not coming at it from the priesthood running the world. They're not coming at it from a conspiratorial point of view. So they're assuming that a lot of the forms that we have are still legitimate. And they're not coming at it from the anointing, like what Yeshua has done with me, giving me the anointing after I climbed the mountain in Central California 40 years ago, when I was 22 years old, number of perfection, number of the letters in the alphabet, and climbed the tallest peak, 14,500 feet, Mount Whitney, to get a vision. And when I came off the mountain, that's when words opened up to me. So it is Yeshua who has revealed this code to me. I'm not smart enough to figure this out. It is he puts me in the right book at the right place. You can study it, you can get knowledge, but nobody can figure out the code. Nobody, unless Yeshua is willing to reveal it to him. But yet he did it for me, and he did it because nobody is capable. He wants people to know it. In other words, it was all meant that we were supposed to read, and we were supposed to read and see things correctly. It wasn't supposed to be some impossible game in order to be able to transcend this world. It was meant for us to transcend, to know the truth. The Aryan ancient watchers were supposed to come here to bring us truth and light, and the way back home, pointing the way back home, and instead they gave us darkness and deceit and lies and war, perpetual war and bloodshed, chaos, confusion, abuse, raping and pillaging throughout all of this recorded history, because they had to keep us in confusion and run a shell game that we could never figure out, because they decided to conquer the world, and if we ever figured their game out, then game over, and we're all going for them, But of course, they perfected the art thousands of years ago, and the game is in full blossom. They own all the technology. We don't own any of the technology. It's theirs, and we use it. They let us use it, and it's all compromised. All serves their purpose. What part of it is not the mark of the beast?
None of it.
Right? Everyone wants to say Social Security number, or the bank card, or the UPC symbol on the back of a product, or all of it's a mark of the beast. It is all the beast.
I remember the saying. Technology is a tool of the devil, even though we know the reality of the devil. But that the man is the devil. He is the adversary. Adversary is the devil, right? But
so that's the adversary. That's what's going on.
And Lynn also wrote in the chat, AVG, not ABC. Right. So it's there. It's there for people to see and read.
All right. So when we come back, we'll talk about the primitive technology of correct form, and we'll show. I had a major discovery yesterday of an A shavor, which, as you know, this is the original word.
Yeah.
And I'll try to get it out a little more. I'm losing my voice, but I'll try to get out a little more before we.
Okay, I'm gonna play your flute music because it goes for a bit longer. I need a voice break as well. Mine was going at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna go grab some honey.
7 minutes. It gives me 7 minutes, and we'll pick it up when we get back. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to a break. Okay, guys, we'll be back in 7 minutes. This is weird.
It's what they didn't want to know that we tell right here, right, Ninja?
Yes, yes it is. Yes, at the Forbidden History Chronicles with Desert from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the Forbidden History Chronicles. I'll just give out some details, some contact details. All the details are in the description of every live stream. You can, if you want to donate, any size donation is greatly appreciated.
We have a translation project, Ninja.
Okay,
support,
sorry.
Not for, not for Desert, but it's for
for the translation project. It's for this for.
We have a book of wisdom we want to publish to get to the people in prison. We have people suffering in prison today, and the book of wisdom is the greatest book of wisdom ever written. 22 chapters, written by Joseph of Arimathea, the great uncle of Yeshua, and it introduces one to the true nature of our being, our purpose and intent for being on earth, and how to approach life in the most profound way ever. It's the ultimate blueprint for going back home, and it's a must read for everybody. So you can get a copy. Please continue, Ninja. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You say it better. Okay, the website is www.therealpublicradio.net. That's www.therealpublicradio.net. You can also get a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, or the Book of Wisdom with a more up-to-date dictionary attached to the back of that. You can contact Desert on 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. If you're international, put a +1 in front of it. Okay, my brain's just gone. Sorry. I've been meaning to put that phone number in the description. I will put that in the description as well. My email is in there. Because Desert's computer is down, if you want to get hold of any of the PDFs, just contact me by email or get a message to me somehow. Also, there are live streams on Desert's channel that have been recorded since the 21st of June this year. Please go back and listen to them. They are brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant, and they will help fill in any gaps. We're doing our best at the moment, but they're like, I can vouch for it. I was there for most of them. I think I only missed, I've gone back and listened, but I think from the start, when I first started watching your channel, Desert, I think I came in probably about 2 weeks after you started broadcasting. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. And if you want to catch up and see the big picture and figure, know the words, know the code, it's all there on Desert's channel, the Forbidden History series. Did I miss anything?
4 words. 4 words. The Forbidden History series. That is the elusive enigma. Some people always miss that. And
okay.
There are other Forbidden History channels out there. I coined the term back in 1997 and was the first one on the internet with the Forbidden History series. A lot of people using the term today. So you'll see me, I'm the guy with the sunglasses in the picture on my YouTube channel, the Forbidden History series. And any support will help the translation project. We want to bring you the most important transliteration of scriptures in modern time, because all of our scriptures, all of them, have been manipulated by priesthoods, and nobody knows the code apparently, because not one translation is unlocking the code words, which are like blessed, heaven, devil, demon, Lucifer, believe, not original terms. They are code words. And even the names of people are not the originals. David is not David, it's Taba. And the word Asia, which I'll be touching on, is a component of all of the names of those, or titles of those who are in the lineage of Esha-Re'ul, meaning Abraham. He starts with the A, then his wife Sarah is Esha-Re, and then and so the word Asia is there, and we all know the word Asia because we see it on a map, but nobody ever tells us where it comes from or what it means. Asia is the royal eye, and the royal eye means the center, and then it goes to Asia Ma'ul, then Asia Yak, and that's Isaac, and then from Asia Yak to Esau, which was really Asia Yal, and then from there it goes. The title passes on to Yaakov because Asia or Esau was not worthy of it, and then it goes to he becomes Esha-Re'ul. He represents the entire tribe of what we call Israel, Esha-Re'ul, and then the title is passed on to Joseph, who is Bol Eshafe, because he's the one who saves his family. He represents the sun, the power of the sun, sitting on the sun throne with the Pharaoh. So it's relevant truth to who know. Don't we want to know the true story? Aren't we tired of being lied to, ladies and gentlemen? And don't we want to know the truth? Yeah. Do we want the cartoon? The Dick and Jane reader, or do we want the university version of reality? That and university means one verse. There is only one verse, but they destroyed our original in order to give us a plastic fiction, part truth, part lie. But we know the truth is not a part of any lie. Therefore, you can't be in the truth and be in a bunch of lies and deception at the same time. That means that's why it says very few will be saved. That where there's no vision, people perish. Okay, and you perish in the parish.
Oh.
Because, yeah, that's why they call you a parishioner, because you are perishing. Yeah.
Wow.
Code word.
It's
So let's get into it. And so the L and the R, with some nations, L and R are commutable, as in Greek, Latin, Lilium, Italian, sorta, scorta, and an escort, or sport, Spanish, a port, escolta. Indeed, L and R are letters of the same organ, and that was by Webster. You see, he said they are of the same organ. Now, if you look in China, when they try to talk with the L sound, or the R sound, they go, no, the L sound. They have trouble with the L. So
it sounds like R.
Going on, we can see.
Yeah,
and they say, look at that.
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
They try to talk English.
Yeah.
Rutsch, they can't say the L for some reason because of the way they've been raised.
Yeah.
And so the rook and so that element is being played out because they learn one element and we learn another one. And you did mention the R as being similar to the K.
Yep.
And because the R is indeed a code, and you can see in it has the component of three letters, I guess at least we could say. It's got the L. The L is hiding because that's the straight line of its backbone, right? The straight line is the L, and then you've got the R. So the L and R combined, and that's exactly what that quote of Webster was saying. I hadn't read that in a long time, and it's rather telling. A letter of the same organ, because in other words, which way do I want to go here? So the R, we can see the capital P.
Yep.
And then it's also that K with the broken right column that's sticking in underneath the circle. Okay, and so the circle of the P, being that the PH is the symbol of creation, then the P itself, which we might consider to be an axe, it sort of looks like an axe, the capital P, but that circle at the top can also represent the sun, and the light is coming down in the letter L from the top down, creating the P, symbol of creation, PH, and the H is the K, that's where the structure could have been a PH. It's a K underneath the P circle, so combining, and therefore we can also see hiding the X of the Cairo. The Cairo is the symbol of the X and the P imposed on each other, and what it means is the place. And so what the letter R for royal, and also PH for creation, and the L for the symbol of time, the obelisk, the light, it's saying the place is the sun. That's what it's saying by the nature of the symbol. It's the ultimate, that's why it's royal, because it's the ultimate combination code of multiple letters within one. The Ka sound of the K for creation, creation, because it started with the fire. Creation always starts with the fire, and then out of the fire comes the produce, the steel, so L and R. We said we can then see it in left hand, right hand. The right hand, if you switch the L and the R in both the left and the right, you got the right hand becomes the hand of the light, the power hand, because the right hand and most people are stronger than the left. We use the right. We're on the right with it, and then the left hand becomes the rest hand. It's rest of the light because it's the weaker hand. So left and right is light and rest of light, and so it's a play, it's a code, and and you got to be in on the game to know about it. But then the greatest show on earth, as we talk about periodically, being the alien card. Then we can look, if we change the letter L in alien into the R, what we get, right?
Aryan.
Right, because the Aryans are the ones who manufactured the anti-gravity Vimanas 10,000 years ago while they're building pyramid civilizations around the world. And so they are the Aryans are the aliens. And even David Childress, when he wrote his book on UFOs, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now, but in the back of his book he put all these newspaper articles in from like in America in particular, across America from the late 1800s, early 1900s, 1920, 1930, and people were seeing these craft flying through the air, and they land in a cornfield. Somebody come out with a ball cap on, a white guy wearing pants, saying, "Hey, you got any water around here? Who are you?" Okay, the farmer's still trying to figure out what in the world was he looking at, because he never heard about, UFOs or, seen this silver craft flying around before. They didn't even have airplanes, and all of a sudden this thing lands in the field. Guy comes out, "Yeah, man, we need some water. You got some coffee? We're going a long way to Greece, but, and so literally these stories came out about, people coming out of these craft, landing in front near a highway, in a cornfield, farmer's pasture, and
it's always a cornfield.
Regular people.
It's always a cornfield.
Well, it could have been a soybean field, I don't know. But the point is, it's a field, because there's more farms than we got anything else. And if they're going to hide, where are they going to hide?
In the cornfield.
Yeah. You don't want people to see you, so you're going to obviously try to come down where there's a little bit of cover.
Yeah.
And so then they come out and because they know the story will never take hold, because who's going to buy into this story? Yeah. Farmer Joe saw some guy fall, come out of the sky, and a guy wearing a ball cap, saying, "You got a cup of coffee," came out of it. "Give me a break, Joe. That's a good one." And Joe, I think we better have him committed. So they knew that. So in other words, the whole concept wasn't developed in the 1800s for how they were going to use the one world order game, of UFO takeover, like what we saw in Paradise, California, and And so anyway, but I didn't do the purpose was not to go into the alien thing here. We were just giving an example of the letters.
Yeah. I'll end up talking all night if we get into the aliens thing. So yeah.
So
back to the
letters.
letters.
I want to give an example of how the code works in another way.
Okay.
Okay. The letters are interchangeable as we see in one culture from another. So the Y, the L, and the R. The Y can also be involved in this situation, and so it's interesting. I decoded not decoded, but I was able to read clearly the word llama. The word llama, which is that beautiful creature that'll spit in your face up there in the South American Andean mountains, and in particular, and they have similar type animals like in Tibet. And, they're good pack animals because they're not big like the giant camels, and they're small, and they do a good job. So the llama is the pack animal. And so what is the llama? You hear the word ma is in there. In fact, it's frontwards and backwards, it's mother, ama. And also a prime element of the word amor is in here for love. Why? Because the mother, the Elohim, the cosmic mother, has the divine love in her. She provides us the things that we need. All the things we need are at our disposal within nature. There's nothing that's not provided in nature, and it's an abundance. So the llama, in the literal sense, in other words, the transliteration of the symbol, the lexicography of the symbol is literally, it means the mother's go round. The llama is the mother's go round. You see, it's a very primitive way of saying it, but that's literally what it meant. The mother's go round, because the animal is symbolic of the mother, the lama. In other words, as we know in the French, la means the. So literally, it could also be implied it's the mother. Sure, the mother is carrying for us. Not only that, but the hides create clothing for us. Sure, it's our mother. Because it provides us everything we need. It is the one animal that creates our civilization, in fact, right? That's what the llama would be. They could not exist without the llama. So surely the llama is their mother, the mother's go-round. But then if we change the L to an R again in the code, we get Rama. And so there's the prime element for Ram, and the ram is the father. So hiding in the mother is the father, and it's a ram. The ram also hangs out at the top of the mountains, in the steepest cliffs, places we would never dare to go. And it's got the horns of the Fibonacci symbols of creation, the universe unfolding in the ram's horns. And so there's and then ram backwards in the Rama sequence, A-M-A, we got MR for armor, a prime root of the word armor, because there's no better symbol of armor than in the ram's structure with the head, with the horns. In fact, the Romans love to use the symbols of the ram's horn headpieces, right?
Yeah.
And so the father represents the sun, the ram represents the sun. And so there's the father and the mother in the L and the R again. By changing one letter, you get a different picture of creation in this story here. Excuse me. And so I'm going to try to lead into something and see how I can get people to wrap their mind around this, because
okay.
It goes back to in the beginning. In the beginning is the word, and the word. I'm wondering if I want to do this one first. Let me look at this. I worked on a word yesterday.
I'm intrigued. I can't wait to hear this. Yeah. So.
Sorry?
I'm intrigued. I can't wait to hear this one.
Okay, well, I'm going to save it for tomorrow and leave a clip.
Oh, does it?
Oh, you want to hear it now?
I shouldn't have said anything.
I love cliffhangers, don't you?
I love this. I love this.
My fingers.
Yeah.
Somebody help me, please.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Hanging on a cliff all these years, my fingers are getting pretty tired. All right. So cosmos, is interesting. Here's an example of a word abbreviation.
Okay.
And it's cosmos.
Okay.
Because Here you see the word cosmos. Mos is right in there. Mos for the mother star, right? Oshus, and like osmosis, osis, and there's a lot going on with this word, and literally it means the harmonious order and movement of the creation, cosmos.
Okay.
The harmonious order and movement of the creation. So the science of the cosmos is talking about all the structure, its design, the Fibonacci unfolding. And then you got but of course there's no C, so it's spelled with a K, and we see it in the Greek. The cosmos is in the Greek spelled with a K correctly. We got hypnotized by that C, and it doesn't exist in nature, and we got to put the root forms back. So what's interesting is really it's an abbreviated term. As we talked about, they control our words outside the College of Abbreviators outside the Vatican. Excuse me, and so really I was amazed because it was unfolding, and it's kosher. There's the word kosher. We know, the Khazarians, who are very unkosher, love everything kosher, right? And so it's kosher, and there's the royal Shah, and it's Osha for ocean, and it's the kosher cosmos. So there's kos is kosher, and then the second word mos is motion. And there's the word motion, because what happens in the ocean but the motion of the ocean, right?
Wow.
And so it's the kosher motion, it's the cosmos. Why? Because all the cosmos is moving in the cosmic sea, and nothing is sitting still, right?
Yeah.
And it's a harmonious order of the movement of creation, and the literal sense of cosmos or kosher motion in the literal sense means the keys of the royal motion. The cosmos has the keys, like we talked in Chimera, the key mirror, the reflection.
Yeah.
The cosmos is a reflection of the lower order of things.
Yeah.
That's the higher order. The higher reflection is the keys of the royal motion. Within this creation are the keys that tell us about who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are. So the kosher motion sounds like it could have been a song, but it is the vibration of creation, and we see the ocean. So now we know where the word motion comes from, right? It's in the word ocean, or maybe the word ocean came from the word motion.
Yeah.
But it's the mother. Motion is mother. Prime root of the word motor, because it is a motor, and the movement of the water on the circular sphere, because it can't happen on a flat Earth, has to be spherical, because the water keeps going around like a serpent, creates an electrical charge, just like they said when the water goes under the pyramid, they claim that it makes an electrical charge. Well, it's the same thing with the oceans moving on the Earth, creates an electrical charge and keeps everything in motion on the ocean, right? And so everything's moving. So even the Earth is bobbing up and down on a 5,500-year cycle through the flat line of the galaxy, the pancake.
Yeah. Everything moves, everything spins, everything's got its little job to do.
Absolutely, it goes up and down.
Yeah.
Everything spins, oscillates, goes up and down, and it's a constant movement, because the movement creates friction. Friction creates electrical charge, and everything lives off the electrical charge. Most people don't get the picture that when they see a tornado in particular, that it's like, how does the cloud push down a funnel? The cloud is not pushing down a funnel. It is the Earth sucking down the energy vortex from the sky
in
the form of a storm.
Yeah.
Because it's being recharged. The Earth is being recharged. The mother is being charged. The outside is what do you call that? Like a gyrosphere, sort of like a gyrosphere.
Yeah. Okay.
And the sky is filled with energy. Tesla, pointed out that the atmosphere is filled with energy that could run everything on Earth with no electric bill, and that energy in the sky in 1 hour to make everything on Earth go for the next year. It's so fantastic. And so the Earth is sucking the cloud down, and that's the same with the hurricane. The hurricane is charging the Earth. Same with the lightning strike. The lightning is charging the Earth because the Earth is a living organism in nature. And so now I'm going to go to this word Aisha, and I'm going to lead into it. And, I've been talking about it on my program now for several months, and it was a major missing piece of the puzzle, major discovery. And Aisha means the royal eye. And so in the beginning is, because I was able to rebuild the word into the word vor. It's the word vor. Word is vor, V-O-R. No W, and no D, and because the D replaced the T, I said it earlier on the program, and so its word is vor, and means vortex, center, and then the Aisha, it was by the implication of the royal, and because I knew that it was the word sword. If you take the word you get sword, and there's the word shah. The shah comes from the A shah. Then I realized the A was the missing component because the A is at the beginning of everything.
Yeah.
And so the A is a symbol, and it's silent, and it's also pronounced. You can use it both ways in the diction, and that's what reveals the code. So literally in the beginning is not the word, in the beginning is not the logo, as it says in the Greek, because those words are corrupted, but they still tell a story. But it is, in the beginning, is the Aisha Vor. That's the royal center, the royal vortex. And the prime root of Aisha is Ace, and that represents the Father, Yahweh. The Ace, at the primary element, it's the corrupted form, like in the Septuagint, is Ish. But Ish is Ace. And there we see in the word face. And then so in the word face we've got, which is the highest aspect of our being. Our face is our computer with our brain behind it. It's regarded as a solar. That's why it's called the soul. S-O-L, not S-O-U-L with the corruption. And but the word face is only abbreviated. It is the fascia. And this is where we get the word fasci, ladies and gentlemen. The word fasci has an origin, and it's from the sun. The battle axe in the middle represents the sun, like I said, with the letter T, and all of the black ebony rods, black for darkness because it's the black sun. They surrounded the symbol of the axe with the black ebony rods, capturing it, taking control of things, and the black ebony rods represent all the darkness of the political state organized together against the people. In this, so the fascia is then the fasci, and it's the organized political states against the people, modern day slavery. The Sons of Darkness, the Masons, and the Jesuits, and all that, and all the other New Age, philanthropic, Trump on you societies, and with all their BS, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
It's disgusting,
Yeah.
So the code has been revealed, and I get it out there because other people got to pick the ball up, okay? We're all on a limited time frame, and there's no way to publish all the stuff I'd like to publish to get out to you. So the oral version is the best version to get out there. People got to start writing down when they're listening or play it back, and so the word Aisha then is the prime element, the royal eye, and the royal eye then, and Aisha is a perfect anagram. You can read it frontwards and backwards the same way. The SH is always SH. You don't reverse the H and the S. And so, and by the way, that the H that was collapsed on that K was the symbol of the breath. And so what they took from us was our breath, meaning the ability to speak correctly, to speak the terminology, because the breath is in the code, right? What am I doing? I'm breathing while I'm talking.
Yep.
I'm communicating with the breath.
Yep.
And I'm breathing the code. And so the breath is what they took from us. They cut it down with the axe, with that fasci axe, and they then destroyed our words. That's what's going on. The ka, to kill, and so I'm gearing up. I got my dictionaries, and I've been I'm reading 4 different Aramaic versions right now of the scriptures to compare all of them for alliteration in modern time. And because all of them are, even though the good translators that are out there, the independent free thinkers that figured stuff out, still don't have the whole code, that came out of the Vatican and from 2,000 years ago, practically, almost. And so anyway, I was working with the word Genesis, and I said, okay, so I'm going to back engineer it into the original root form. And in simple terms, I saw the word Genesis as implying generations and genealogy, but the sis on the end of it is a giveaway because, as you know, I said Issa is Aisha, and that therefore Israel is Aisha Ra'ul, and so the word Aisha is predominant in this culture, and so as I'm back engineering, putting H in front of the G and take out the E in Gen, and it's Ghann. You may want to type it, God. And then I realized sis was just another spin like ISIS or Itza or Isha, all these different words, and ES, as I saw in the Indo-Germanic the other day, all go back to Aisha. They're all corruptions of original primal root form, Aisha. They got to destroy the A, they got to destroy the H. The A is primary, the H is primary. What you got left is an S. The S is a tip-off, just like, again, in the SS stormtroopers, Nazi Germany. The Zolfat, the swastika, represented the sun. Then the two serpents could be implied sun and moon, the SS. But primarily it is the Issa, the Aisha, which goes back in the Fashae to the sun. And so literally, I then wrote down for the sis, Aisha, and I realized that I had what I concluded was the word, the original Indo-Germanic aspect of Genesis, and it is Ganesha. And when I told it yesterday to Yalav, she says, well, that is that's the name of the Hindu god. And it's the elephant goddess of wisdom.
Oh,
and I said,
you're kidding.
I said, you're kidding. You mean it's a real word that you know? And she goes, yeah, I know the word because she studied Eastern philosophy.
Yeah.
And so the Ganesha, do you know about it?
No. But it makes so much sense. So, like, I knew while you were, like, as soon as you said elephant.
Yeah, well, because in other words, the reason, on those pictures I put up on my channel had the picture of the elephant with the swastika on it, right?
Yes.
Because the elephant, being the biggest animal on Earth, represents the biggest sphere in our solar system, which is the sun. And the swastika on the side of the elephant is the light particle. It's a metaphor of the sun.
Wow.
Bringing down the power of creation.
And an
elephant in the
elephant never forgets.
And so that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because it's got a big brain. And so Ganesha, I find out, literally is the original word for Genesis. And I back engineer it, and then I get a confirmation, as I told you, that she had confirmed a lot of the words I was seeing. Like when I realized that the word sheep was Aschaf, then she told me, well, in German it's Schaf. The original word for sheep is Schaf.
Yeah.
And so literally I see these words first, and then now I get the confirmation because she's so adept in a lot of good study in her own and different languages. From the European side, and so literally, and so what it literally means is the sun hand system, because we see in Ganesha, I'll spell it, and
yeah, please do, because I'm halfway through typing and I got listening, so
GHANNASHA Gan A Shah. And so the gene for gene or gen is gone, and the A is a replacement of the I in Jenny, or is the middle letter, and then Sha is systems. And so systems. So Sha, or Asha, meaning of the word Asha, then is systems. As I said the other day, that Asha means to be. Well, what do you need in order to make something become? You need a system. And it is the solar system. It is the cosmic order of things, the cosmos, the system of opposites, and the system of spinning, the polarities. And so literally Genesis means, which is Ganesha, literally means the sun hand system. It is the sun hand system because everything is working because there is light. The light is at the center of everything. Let there be light, right?
Right. Wow.
And so GH is the number, is the prime symbol of return. You've heard me talk about the GH in the code before. It represents the number 8, and it's pronounced 8.
Yep.
GH. And then the A, N, A means harvest. Anna means harvest. It's a perfect anagram. We read it frontwards and backwards, and we see it in the middle of the word. Gan Asha. And the Asha is the royal eye. The royal eye is at the center. So it literally means the harvest, also the return of the harvest of the royal eye. So just like everything came out, something has to go back. And the whole creation came into being for us, and we are the produce of the garden. And when we are ripe, if we ever get ripe and do not become rotten, then we can be harvested and go back to the light that everything came from. The sun hand system.
Wow, does it?
So it's, because the word hand is in there. Take off the G, and you got Han, H-A-N-N. Remember I said there's 2 N's at the end of man, not one?
Yeah.
And so Han, H-A-N-N, is the original word for hand. There is no D, because D is death.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the hand, H-A-N-D, it means we're dead hand. We're dead. We have a dead hand because we can't do nothing in this world that they created and put us in, the beast system. And so it's hand. And so the sun, the G in front of it is the symbol of the sun. And so that's where we get the sun hand system, and we can add of the royal eye. Of the royal eye. And so, but it also means wisdom. Ganesha means wisdom. And so it would take wisdom to be able to see this. And then we see it in all these other words that I'm dealing with. We have to basically, as I was reading over the last 2 days, my Farrar Fenton scriptures, and all the words are built out of the I and the D. And I suddenly realized that the I and the D are dominating all these names of people in the Old Covenant, and it needs to be switched out to the A and the T. And when you switch out the A and the T, you're right there, and get rid of the B, put in the V. You know, it's a code. It's a switch out. They stole our scriptures. Lucifer clothed herself with the light, and she's looking pretty good, but she's a whore of destruction, you know, of destruction, and a murderess, and so there's more. I'm my voice, and I think I better make that the cap off. That's a great revelation. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to hear it anywhere else. It's what they stole from you, and the intention is to re-add the riddle. That's what read means. Re-add the riddle. And so there you go, Ninja.
Wow, Desert, thank you.
Any follow-up, any questions? I'll try to answer a question or two if you got it. Well, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I can't see any capitals in the chat. Oh, no, just commenting as you were talking.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people got to process this. It's not something they can immediately, resonate with necessarily because, okay, and just qualify then. So not only is Ganesha the Indo-Germanic, but it's also a word that we find literally in Sanskrit, the Pseudo-Sanskrit, because the the Aramaic is the original Sanskrit, but and Sanskrit in India is a dialect, original dialect, just no different than Latin, German, Greek, Hebrew, all of them. Okay, all of them are Indo-Germanic. All come from the same prime root. Sanskrit is closer to the original, and that was the original word for it as well, Sanskrit. But so it literally, Ganesha, and the way they spell it is a little slightly different. I have the Indo-Germanic form.
Yep.
In the Sanskrit, it's spelled with some e's. It's just a slightly different, but it is Sanskrit. Okay. So literally, when I back engineered the word Genesis for the beginning of the transliteration of Genesis, I discovered the original word by the stroke of inspiration. And so the point is, that is the original word. And so what we find is that the word Genesis comes from the Hindu side of things. That's why they took out the word Bereshit, because in the original, well, at least in the way they did it back then, is the first word of a book, excuse me, is what they would call the book. And so Leviticus, Deuteronomy, all the first word in the book, or like the book, called the Didache. I shared a few months back on my channel, the Didache. And why is it called Didache? Because it means the knowledge of two ways. And what's the very first way the book reads? It says there are two ways of knowledge, of light and of darkness. So right out the gate, that's why it's called the Didache. It means the knowledge of the two ways, and that's how the book starts. So the first word in what we call Genesis is in the Aramaic Hebrew is Bereshit. It's a corruption, but that's the corrupted form, Bereshit. And so the book in the Hebrew Tanakh is called Bereshit because it's the first word. And so that's the original. But then when we get our Western version, the Hindus take over. That's the Hindu Star of David. As you know, I talk about the Hindu Aryan running everything. The Brahmin, Aryan. They're all one group of a different variety of flavors. Just like they did with Christianity. So we can call them. Even this Ganesha, this elephant, that has all these flowers all over its body, is in Jainism, Brahmanism, Hinduism. They're all the cultures in India apparently recognize this prime element, and it's a prime deity. A prime deity, of course, it's a prime deity. This picture of this elephant, because it represents the sun. You can't get more prime than that, And so that's why they all recognize it, and dress it up in flowers, because it's the one that creates the flowers. The flowers are symbols of the sun, because the sun is a flower of light. The flower of creation is all the circles put together, and they create a beautiful pattern of flowers. You know what I'm talking about? The circle of life?
Yes, I do. We have a question.
Yeah, great. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Melissa's here. Melissa Morand. She's been in some of your live streams before. Says, did you know why Skull and Bones uses 322? Read Genesis 322 and it will shock you. Wow.
Yeah,
I saw that and reading it out loud. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I got my scriptures here. I've read it before, but we'll see. The King James is the code book, and so it may be the best read is in King James. But let's see here. So we'll go to Ganesha, chapter 3. It's not Genesis, it's Ganesha. Okay. Now we can say it correctly.
Go to Ganesha.
Chapter 3, verse 22 in Ganesha. And it says, the Lord God, which will be Yahweh, who is the great bull of Ham, breathed. Now the man is like one of us, acquainted with both sun and moon. That's the original. Or light and darkness, says good and evil, but it would be sun and moon. Therefore, it may be that he will stretch out his hand and take also of the tree of lives and eat of it and live forever. And so he's become like one of us, meaning what? He has become a creator. Why? Because what was the forbidden fruit? There was intercourse, and that's how they became the first creators. You see, creating like. In other words, Yahweh is a creator, and Yeshua is a creator, and then Adam and Eve become creators by creating like. Adam the Naga, the serpent, knew that Keva had the ability as the female to bring forth life. He knew that he had the seed within him. He was there for all the time that Yeshua was creating. He was naming everything, and so it was a slam dunk given that he was going to be enticed, especially when you got all the hormones and all the characteristics of male-female. Obviously, it was a given that when they see all the other animals having cute little babies, you know, that they were going to have intercourse. It was a given, and so that was symbolic of the fall. They were already in the fall, you see. This is part of the story that's really never discussed, but the fall didn't occur because, you know, they had intercourse. They were already in the yin-yang realm of opposite polarities, the division of creation, but they played the role. They fulfilled the role of the division by their carnal knowledge of discovery of self. What did they discover? They discovered that they were incomplete, meaning naked. The fact that they were a product of light, but were away from the light, right? In the lower garden, that up there was the light that they came from, where we are supposed to want to be clothed with the light. And so they discovered merely what they were in this drama. They didn't fall any lower. They couldn't go any lower, other than when people become violent criminals. Then, yeah, they do fall into a lower state because they were just innocent. Well, Adam was a little egotistical and self-centered, obviously, because he was being enticed by the animal compulsion of the serpent, which is the flesh. And so, and Eve was naive. She didn't know anything because she was just popped up on the scene while he'd been there for 3 billion years, with Yeshua, while all of life evolved on Earth. And then, but he was the first made spontaneous generation. And then all other mankind did not evolve. He was created. When I say evolved, nature evolved. Nature is evolving right now in front of us. If we open our eyes and look, it's very obvious, especially in the insect life and plant life. We see evolution always taking place. In sea life, always taking place. It's a continual process because the wisdom of that Ganesha, as we read the elephant of wisdom, the power of wisdom, the power of generation, is constantly unfolding. Selective breeding is a part of nature as well as mankind. Selective breeding brings forth new species continually. We see the fossilized records. What are we going to do? Close our eyes to all the fossilized records, that we have? The Earth has been here. I remember going to the Grand Canyon once, and I got a book about the age of the Grand Canyon, and it said that if you took all of the wall of the Grand Canyon 1 mile deep, and you see that biological record, which talks about the different processions of time within our planet, how old it really is. And they said if you took the time that man has been here in comparison to the timeline of the geological record in the side of the face of the cliff, the question would be, how long has man been here? If you take that picture in the side of the wall that cut Earth, a mile deep of Earth, and you put it in a 24-hour day, a 24-hour capsule, how long has man been here in that 24-hour period? The entire creation of the Earth locked in 24 hours. How long has man been here on the scene? Ninja, do you know?
No, because not right now.
All right.
Because I'm very tired.
I've said it before.
I know you have.
Heard it, but you forgot.
Yeah.
We have been here in the geological clock for 1 second in that 24-hour day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
1 second.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm still recovering from my mind is a little bit mixed at the moment.
Okay. We go in a lot of directions here, don't we?
Yeah.
So, it's a big picture. And so we've been here. The planet has been here for about 3.5 billion years, but the universe has been here for about 6. And because it was made in 6, we were told that in our scriptures. But the priesthood turned the long period into a short 24-hour day. Presto magico, priesthood. Control the words, control the narrative, control the scriptures, you know? And I prove out over and over that the words are all corrupt, the translations are corrupt, and some people, when they wake up to religion and they hug and kiss their King James version, think that that it couldn't be wrong. Couldn't be wrong, man. You know, my priest wouldn't lie to me. You know, that man came down the pike, you know, with the truth. No, man came down the pike with a lie. You know, it said in Revelations, clearly, we can read it pretty plain English, that the beast system has deceived the entire world. What part of the entire world don't we get in the grand deception? It is a beast. Has been running the world since the history of mankind and the Aryan race fell. And they locked in and took over and enslaved mankind. We are slaves on the plantation. And the truth does not come to us on a silver platter wrapped in tinsel gold. The truth comes to us in the form of lies, of control, of a false religion, and a beast system. They control all the religions of the world. All the priests are in on the game. And once we wake up, then to the truth, by discovering the lies, then it starts to get easier. And then we can see and read it for ourselves. And we can fix the broken wheel that they broke in order to get ourselves back home. I think I've done enough damage for one day again.
Wow. No, not damage, does it? I was just thinking while you were speaking. Yeah, it's just
damage to them. Damage to them.
Okay, to them.
Damage to them. I'm destroying what they worked thousands of years to produce.
Yeah, which is what my eyes are opening up to. Like right up until the beginning of this year. It's all been searching for truth and wanting to see through the lies, and I couldn't do that until this year, and now it's just on overload. And so both
it is such a
both is happening right now. Like I'm seeing the lies, and I'm seeing more lies, and I'm seeing how they do it, and that it's everywhere, and it's complete control, and at the same time the truth is right there being revealed by you, thanks to Yeshua. Desert.
Yeah, not by me, but by Yeshua. I'm his instrument.
Yes.
It's not me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So do you see there's like a parallel going on with my brain at the moment, and it's just it's wow, and on overload, and sometimes it's really hard to get my head together, or not really get my head together, but to express what I'm seeing and what I'm taking in. Like I'm taking in everything that you're saying and seeing the lies at the same time. So if I sound muddled, that's I'm not. It just doesn't come out right.
I did notice it. All right.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, it's a big wheel, and the wheel is broken. And the wheel, the primary symbols for the wheel, sun and moon. Those are big wheels, and then these occultists always want to say, well, you know, man, he didn't have the wheel till about 2000 BC or or whatever, and like, okay, yeah, they never noticed the wheel before, when they look at the moon or the sun, like, oh, isn't that the go round? Yeah, that's the go round. If we make something like that, we can go round too. Okay, yeah, sure, it's bad. It's like the stupid stuff these occultists put in our face. Like this is the one I like. When these teachers of the PS system that they want to feed us every day. Then I remember hearing teachers talking about on some documentary. Yeah, well, back in Europe, the men only took showers once a year. They only washed once a year. And, and I'm thinking, okay, the women would really want to sleep with them after about 30 days, And I think my wife would push me in a river if I didn't wash for 30 days. But they get everyone to immediately accept whatever they say. Yeah, those Europeans, they didn't wash once a year, And, but who they were really referring to, of course, was the Khazarian Jews who, from Khazaria, because I read the book, the 13th Tribe by Arthur Kessler, and in there it talked about the Khazarian culture that now is banking today, who are calling themselves the Jews. And literally back then, you know what? Guess what? They wore same-stitch clothing until they rotted on their body, and then they changed it. So they're the ones who didn't wash, are the great unwashed, the Khazarians.
The great
Zionists, the one who don't want to dominate the world and kill everybody and enslave everybody else. They were a perfect breeding ground for a warfaring class called Israel today, working for the Vatican, working for the ancient Aryan Brahmin unseen hand.
Wow, again. Yeah. Have a comment from Melissa. And then any time, and like, I'm happy to keep going. I'm just a little bit delirious at the moment because it is 3:45 a.m. This is amazing. But anyway, comment from Melissa. Where do you get your info? She'd like to look into it. I'm reading that to you because I'd like you to explain it.
Where do I get the info? It came from a lifetime journey of reading books. I ended up with 2,000 books on a shelf. But Yeshua is the key, because he is the tree of knowledge. So Yeshua is the tree of knowledge, and he is all things. And therefore, the key to unraveling any mystery about life is to connect with the one who made all things. And the one who made all things is the one who reveals all things, and that is Yeshua. He is one with the Father, Yahweh. The Father and the Son are one. And so you've got to go back, Melissa, and listen to my series I started on June 21st on the Forbidden History Series channel. 4 words, the Forbidden History Series channel. And I give out the books that I've referred to, translations. I do book reviews. I try to give everything, to everybody freely I receive from the hand of the Father, and I try to give out, what is most evidently important for anybody's benefit. So that's a short question and there's no short answer to that.
Yeah, no, that's why I thought I'd let you answer. And if you want to get copies of the dictionary and the other PDFs, it's all in the description. My email, there's a link for Desert. We'll put Desert's phone number in there as well. It's all there in the description. So, and I can get the copies out to you, no problem. So,
thank you.
Oh, and Melissa says, okay, June 21st, she'll take a look. And thank you. Yeah.
We're going to have to call Ninja the night owl, I guess, because she's up there at 4 a.m. in the morning doing this.
Yeah, well, I am a cat. Cats are night animals, so... And Ninja's kind of...
Well, then. Well, we'll let you get some sleep, and I want to thank you again for your participating in doing this and being a ninja, and thank everybody out there for stopping by. Do tell a friend. After all, if you find this interesting, you want to know, and certainly you know somebody that would like to know as well. Get the link, share the link, spread the link around, and participate. The time is short. These psychopaths that I've been revealing on this program have destroyed our world. They destroyed the ozone layer. Our world is going down. They wage war. They put innocent people on battlefields to fight each other, and while they work behind the scenes and don't pay the price of what we do on the battlefield. People are stupid. problem, and government is the shell racket, it's the shell game. They have no idea. It's a one-world religious state. It's not a political state, it's a religious state. It's run by the ancient religions of our world, the Hinduism, Brahmanism, it's all just another version of another version of another version.
Yeah.
Red, colors of the rainbow, they control it all. And the only thing we need to do is connect with the one who made all things. He is the light, they are the darkness. They have no real power other than the power of the grand illusion. Yeah, they could take your life, but Yeshua said, fear him who can take both life and soul. Because he is here, he wants us to serve him. He wants to use us, and he will protect us. He's protected me all these years in many dramatic situations, because I in my simplicity, in my own ignorance, but heart's desire, wanted to know and serve. And so he's been feeding me from his tree of knowledge so that he can lead me to the tree of life. It's the same tree, but before you can have life, you need knowledge. You have to know that you know that you know,
Yep.
and then you can conquer yourself, conquer the serpent, conquer this world, and be separate from it, and no longer give it any credence, because it is all the grand illusion. None of it is real. It is all a stage. That's why they call war theater. It's all a stage and a prop. Washington, D.C. is a prop. It's a grand illusion supported by the Jewish news media and Jewish Hollywood and Jewish funny money in the Federal Reserve banking system that is really the holder of all title and property in America due to the bankruptcy circa 1933. It's all a racket working for the Vatican, and the Vatican is just simply the front office of the ancient ones, the ancient watchers who fell, took their blood oaths to conquer the world, and out the gate they created all the great technologies and the things that we still can't do today, they did back then. Our neighbors are flying those anti-gravity vimanas, people that we are in our communities. They live among us, and they're not telling us. They're typically, they are Freemasons, many of them, maybe all of them in the Secret World Federation that is now coming out with their anti-gravity vimanas and their ray guns.
Yep.
And they're Warner von Braun said that they will use the UFO card glass. And so what we see them doing in paradise, they're going to do wholesale throughout all of Europe, throughout all of America. They're going to burn down every house and every business and every community on the planet. That's the grand final curtain. That's how they're going to close shop. They're going to burn us all out, ladies and gentlemen. The time to get right is now. There's no saving America. There's no saving the planet. The only one you might have half a chance of saving, if you get your head on straight, is yourself. Because it's time to wake up to who you really are in this universe, not in the world, because you're not of the world. And they want you to think you are. They want you to have their little toys in your hand, and your little games, and your little iPhones, and your little, entertainment. All that stuff is a diversion. Sports, from Webster's Dictionary, 1828, sports means diversion. Competition actually was not a word that came out of sports. Competition meant to mean make competent. That was a part of the scholastic system. Competition was to make people smart. We competed in our grades. We competed in our ideas to come up with the next better idea. And they turned what was a scholastic term, competition, into a game, because everybody didn't care about the classroom anymore. They'd say, who's going to win the game? Who's playing next week? Oh yeah, the game. Everybody's waiting for Saturday for the big game. Forget about being enlightened, right? Knowing who we are. So that's how they switched us out. They made us into animals instead of a superior being with the royal heritage from the throne of the sun, from beyond this universe, where our spirit came from, which they had hidden from us. The knowledge of who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are. It must be known. It has to be known if you're to live, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, Ninja, peace and love and enlightenment, and we will look for you. I'll look for your text next time when you're ready to turn on the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here because somebody's got to do it, right?
Wow, Desert. And we're doing it. Or you're doing it. I'm just sitting here saying, wow.
You're doing it too. You're part of it. Several people are coming on board, making a difference. I can't do this by myself. It's a team effort, and so we're going on a journey. And if people want to support the program, it'll get better because we have things we want to do, and the writings and the lost writings and the publishing we have, the Paramount, Breaking the Code, the dictionary, it's all right here. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your support. Those of you who have been supporting, you know who you are, and we'll talk again real soon. Get some sleep, Mr. Peace and love.
Okay, thank you, Desert. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace and love. Okay, that was awesome, as usual. Thank you very much to Dezert-Owl. And I'm going to get some sleep. We just went for about... Oh, we went for nearly 3 hours. 2 hours and 45 minutes. Wow, that's a record. Okay, love you guys. Be safe. And if you want any of the information that we were talking about, any of the PDFs for the dictionary, the Book of Wisdom, or the original Gospel sample, just send me an email and I'll get them to you. It's all in the description. Okay, thanks guys for coming. Love you guys heaps. That was actually wow, that was actually putting a lump in my throat. That little speech at the end from Desert, that was amazing. Okay, I'm not techie, I'm just trying to find something. I'm trying something new here. Okay, see you guys next time, hopefully same time tomorrow, about 1 AM my time. Okay, bye guys.